And if you'd like to ask a question, please just send us a message through the chat bubble you see in the conference toolbar. For a consultation with our team and a more personalized demo about how you specifically could use the application, you can certainly get in touch with us after the webinar as well. This is my contact information. Many of you have talked to my colleague, Jason Haynes, so feel free to reach out to either one of us if you have additional questions. And with that being said, we'll go ahead and get started. So Microsoft Dynamics CRM is accessible in a couple of different ways. It is entirely web-based, and so you'll have a unique organization URL to log in, and of course, a unique username and password. You can use any browser that you prefer. It is generally browser agnostic, so if you like Chrome or you like Internet Explorer, or I happen to be using Firefox here, you are welcome to use anything you'd like. We can also access CRM on a mobile device, whether that's a phone or a tablet, and those too can be customized to meet your needs. And then you can actually access it right inside of Outlook. So for those organizations who are already using Outlook as a way to manage your day-to-day, emails, calendars, tasks, and what have you, CRM actually can sit right inside of Outlook. And so it creates a scenario where users find it very intuitive. Basically, you'll get a group of links on your left-hand navigation pane here that allow you to drill down into the various record types in CRM. Now, I will tell you, I have my own organizations loaded into my Outlook, so we won't spend too much time in here today, but I just wanted to give you a sense for how that works. Basically, it goes out to the web and pulls in the most recent data, and so what you're seeing here is, in fact, live information. Okay, so I can, jump through various dashboards. I can go take a look at, say, my open customer service cases, okay? And you'll notice that this looks a little bit different than what you're going to see when we get into the web version, but all of the data is live and ready for use. So, from a training and user adoption perspective, this can be really, really helpful, because now instead of learning a brand new application, they're actually just learning an extension of Outlook, okay? A little bit later in the webinar, we're going to talk about how Outlook can be leveraged in other ways as it ties to CRM. But for right now, I'm going to jump back into the web version. So you'll notice that when I log in here, I'm taken directly to a dashboard. And a dashboard is just a group of charts and graphs that are customized for each functional area of the organization. So, if you work in the fundraising side of the organization, you're going to see a lot of details here about, funds raised and major gifts that you're tracking, and different events and what money has been raised by or for which event. If you're perhaps on the volunteer management side, you're going to see a different group of charts and graphs. And of course, if you're actually providing the services of your organization, yet a different group. So we can actually show various dashboards per functional area. In addition to that, you can actually create personal dashboards as well. So you, as an individual contributor in your organization, may want to see certain charts and graphs, key performance indicators about your day-to-day activities. And so you can create your own dashboard to take a look at on a periodic basis. One of the nice things here is that you can actually drill down into more information. So if right here we're looking at our open opportunities, which are potential major gifts in the organization. If I want to see more details about this, I can actually drill down quickly and easily to see all of the opportunities that make up this chart. If I'm only interested in those that are really close to closing, I can click on that section of the opportunity pipeline and see just those records. And then, of course, we'll get more into this in a few minutes, drill down further into each one of these records. So very quick and easy to get to the data you need. I find that dashboards are particularly helpful for staff meetings, board meetings, right? You pull this up on a screen in the office or in the conference room, and you kind of talk through what it is your organization needs to focus on that week, that month, that quarter, what have you. And when board members have tricky questions that they ask, hopefully you've got these the answers right here in in a group of charts and graphs that you can drill into. From a general navigation perspective, most of your navigating happens here in the top, this dark blue navigation bar at the top. I call this the hamburger menu, but ultimately what this does is it pulls up a few tiles of information, kind of quick functional areas that you might jump to. Donor and volunteer management, service, if you're managing some of the operations of your nonprofit using CRM, marketing, and then of course settings and help. Once you click on one of these tiles, you get a whole bunch of other options, right? And these options do depend on your access to the system. We do have complex security roles available in CRM so that you can restrict access to certain types of records, certain processes in the system, and what have you, okay? A couple other things I'll point out here. We've got a global search tool. And ultimately, this actually searches the whole system and will pull up data of all different types when you type in, a search term. So and I'll use an asterisk, which is a wild card. If I type in Sarah, I'm going to see all of my contacts with the name Sarah. If I type in, the word company, right? Now suddenly I see a lot more information. Okay, so this does search the whole system. We can teach it to search donations. We can teach it to search, volunteer records, case records, etc. Okay. We have a little quick create tool. If you need to very quickly create a record, you can just click here and open up one of the records rather than having to navigate. We do have a recently viewed lists and also records, okay? So, if you happen to be one of those folks who, focuses on a few different types of things, this might be the quickest and easiest way to get to what you need. And then we have Advanced Find. Advanced Find is really your first level of reporting in CRM, okay? You can actually search any record type in the system. Maybe you want to search for accounts. Maybe you want to search for donations, okay? And this allows you to build a view or a table of information. So I'm going to search for donations. I'm going to start with donations that are active in our system. And let's say I'm interested in donations over a certain value. So amount is greater than or equal to, $250. And I click results, okay? So you can see I've got 125 gifts here that were greater than $250, okay? Let's say that you are missing certain columns of information, or you only want to see certain columns of information. You can actually control that as well, okay? So you just edit columns using this quick and easy tool. Oh, I want to add check number. Great. Okay, results, and now I'll see check number at the end. Okay, so really very intuitive query tool. Everybody has access to this query tool in the system. And then these views that you create can actually be saved for future use. They can be shared with colleagues. They can be exported into Excel. And they can be leveraged to create charts and graphs. So again, this is sort of that first level of reporting in CRM. Okay, so let's jump into some of the heart of what CRM is doing. CRM, as you may know, in the industry stands for customer relationship management. Now, in the nonprofit sector, I often hear it referred to as constituent relationship management. We also refer to it as donor and volunteer management, but ultimately this can be your 360-degree view of all of the relationships you have in your organization. I'm going to click into donor and volunteer management and jump to accounts. Now, in CRM, accounts are representative of groups, so businesses, corporations, affinity groups, institutions, foundations, any type of business or organization. You could also use accounts to show households. right? If you really want to understand, well, this family has participated in XYZ ways, you may want to group that as a household. What we first see here is what we call a view in CRM, and it's basically just a slice of the data. This happens to be showing active accounts. I can change that view to a variety of different things. And that advanced find tool I just showed you, the query tool, those views that you save actually get added to this list. So you can see here I can create a personal view, and that takes me right back into that query tool. So I can use it for future use. But ultimately, any slice of the data, any field by which you want to query will help you create these personal views to help you navigate the system more effectively. Okay? Once you're viewing here, you can actually sort by any one of these columns. So let's say I wanted to sort by city because I'm doing an event in Fairport. Right now I can see all of my Fairport accounts. I want to see those accounts that are assigned to a certain board member. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down here, and it looks like and now we've got all of board member one's accounts. These are folks that person is responsible for bringing to the table. Okay, if I want to kind of dig into this data a little bit more, kind of see it graphically represented, I can actually blow this chart out a little bit, and I can see all of that detail with a graphical representation. So number of accounts by board assignment, accounts by owner, by territory. It could be accounts by total value of gifts this year. Okay? So these are all customizable, these charts and graphs that you'll use. So let's go ahead and drill down. I'm actually going to use Synect as the example. You'll see I just searched there and it popped up, and now I can just drill down for more information. Okay, so this is our account record, and you're going to notice that there are a lot of fields here related to nonprofit management. You've got donor potential, employer match program, United Way participant, anonymous donor, just checkboxes. All of these fields of information are completely customizable. So you can add drop-down menus. You can add free text fields. You can add URLs. You can add checkboxes, as you see. So, and really, it's very, very flexible. In terms of where you put these on the form, how they're aligned, what you call them, everything you see here is customizable. Okay? So just as we kind of scroll through, you'll see here, account type, relationship type, all right, how are they related to the organization? Owner is the person in your organization who owns this record. Okay, so it might be your major gift officer or your director of development, something like that. If I scroll down a little bit, you're going to see things like giving history. Okay, you'll see total giving year to date, total giving overall, and date of last gift. Okay, certainly contact information. And then if I scroll down a little bit more custom fields available. Maybe I want to track the industry or, again, the board member it's assigned to, how I contact this person, what have you. Okay, so lots of flexibility in the types of items you track. I want to draw your attention here to the center of the screen. This is what we call our social pane. And you'll see there's a series of phone calls outlined here. If you had emails that were sent in Outlook, this is actually one of the handy tools of the Outlook integration, I can actually track emails from Outlook into CRM. So today, you may be tracking in folders in your inbox, as an example. Each of your major donors might have a folder in Outlook. Well, now you can actually track these items right into CRM. Let's see if I can find one that I've already tracked so you can see the difference. No. Okay. I'll just show you how this works. So here's an email in CRM, and you can see that this one here is set regarding to a particular customer service case, and then related records, Charlene Roberts and me. Okay? So this means that this particular email in CRM is linked to those records in CRM. And to do that, all I did was click this track button, set regarding, and then pick any record in the system. So this makes it really easy to find those old historical emails that you've had regarding, potential volunteer positions or, board memberships or, donations, sponsorships. all of your emails can be tracked to a record in CRM, okay? And then, of course, the other value there is that other people in the organization can now easily see that conversational history. That's great just in terms of, collaboration and what have you. It's also great because if that person ever moves on to a different, position outside of the organization, you've been able to maintain that info, okay? So jump back here. So all of your activities, whether they're emails, appointments, phone calls, tasks, they'll all be listed here, okay? You can also add notes. So my note feature sometime, there we go. We can add attachments, okay? So, you can add just a date and time stamped note here. You can, click and browse for an attachment. So maybe you want to manage certain documents in the system, okay? Those can be attached right here. On the right-hand side, we've got some related records to this particular account, okay? So a primary contact, right? But then we've also got a list of any number of contacts. So, if I wanted to add a new contact here, I'll add another one of our team members. Okay, I can add all his information. Quickly click Save. It's going to tell me that there's a potential duplicate. Another nice tool in the system is that it will actually look at the rest of your database and make sure that you're not creating duplicates unnecessarily. So we're going to say we want to save it. And there's Jason now listed in the list of contacts related to this account. So if this account is a household, you'd see all of the family members or household members listed here. If it's an organization, okay, you would see, all of your key contacts at that foundation, okay? I'm going to scroll down a little bit more, and you'll see opportunities, pledges, and donations. So I'm going to start with pledges and donations. Everybody on the phone probably knows what a pledge is, right? It's a promise to contribute something. It's a promise to make a donation or a sponsorship or what have you. But managing those pledges can be tricky sometimes. And I know a lot of the organizations we've talked to, are leveraging spreadsheets or Outlook or a variety of other tools to make sure that they're following up on those pledges. Basically, this allows us to track the details of the pledge, sort of where it came from, what their pledge is, how much it's for, when they made the pledge. And then what's really great here is I can track the donations related to that pledge. This is particularly handy when you're tracking multiple donations. So in this case, we've got this organization who said they'd be a Gala Silver sponsor for $2,000. Well, they made 3 different payments towards that pledge, and this allows us to track those payments against that pledge. And when that pledge is fulfilled, you'll note that the pledge status is collected. Okay? So it's just a nice, easy way of managing those pledges and those donations. So here we've got all our pledge information. Donation information, if I drill down here, is a little bit more detailed. Okay, we can collect things like payment type, check number, the date we sent the tax acknowledgement letter. Okay, but ultimately a lot of the same details as you'll see on pledge. And sometimes you won't have a pledge. You'll go right to donation, right? Someone makes an outright donation at an event. There's no pledge at play there, right? You just enter this after you get that $25 check and it's done. Okay, but again, you can track all kinds of custom information here. All right. Let me just jump back. You'll notice that I keep clicking on these blue links. They're all hot links throughout the system. So you can kind of get from record to record to record that are related pretty darn easily. You'll see here we've got all of these donations, and then these values are what's rolling up to that giving history. Okay? Now again, these are some guesses at important aggregate fields. So you might want to see giving history by quarter, or giving history by type, or it might be you might be tracking information about a volunteer, and you want to see how many times they've volunteered, or how many hours total they've volunteered. So there's a lot of different ways you can kind of roll up or aggregate data in the system, but the system does the work for you, which is really quite nice. I'm going to drill down into a contact record here. Now, a contact is an individual at the organization or in the household, or sometimes on its own, right? Sometimes you have a relationship with an individual, and that person has the relationship directly, so you don't have any kind of broader group attached to it. And you'll see that these fields of information are sort of comparable to what you saw before. So, certainly there's a few more details here. Now we could say that the relationship type might be, board member, volunteer. We've got our contact information. We still have a link to pledges and donations from that person. We still have giving history, okay? Address, contact info, maybe some more personal details like gender, marital status, anniversary, birthday, things along those lines. A lot of our rapport building types of information can be stored here. Okay, and again, we've got that same social pane. All right. We talked about pledges. We talked about donations as related to individual records, but sometimes we want to see that kind of data sort of in a global way. So I can actually click here up under the fundraising tab. I can click on donations, and now I'm seeing all of the donations in the system. Okay. Now again, this can be sliced and diced any way you want. So if you want to see just this month's donations, or you want to see donations of a certain type, outright versus in kind. You want to see donations related to a specific group of people, something like that. Those would all be unique views under donations. And then again, of course, as we said before, I can look at this data related to this chart. Okay, so these are donations by month. Obviously, we can see some months are bigger than others. If I change this to donations by solicitation method, now I can say, oh gosh, okay, well, what's my most effective solicitation method here? Okay, and again, totally customizable in terms of how you guys approach fundraising. Okay. One of the things we haven't really talked too much about yet is opportunities. And opportunities are really your pipeline, right? This is where you would track major gifts. This is where you would track grant applications, big fundraising proposals, or I should say foundation proposals. So if I, dig into one of these, now I have the ability to sort of track my activities and the information required for this big proposal. I might have my proposal due date, my proposal sent date. There might be a series of people who are involved in this particular grant proposal. I could have custom fields of information that we always have to include as part of a grant application, what have you, okay? So this, again, totally customizable for your organization, but it's going to allow you to kind of manage a pipeline of opportunities. You'll see this business process flow along the top here. This allows you to go from stage to stage to stage with that grant application or that fundraising or foundation proposal. So you can kind of just click next through the stages to show everybody where you are. And then when you think about it, if you're, say, at a board meeting and you're going to bring up your dashboard, now those big major gift opportunities are here in this pipeline, and you can have a conversation about where you are with them. But everybody's on the same page. Everybody says, okay, I know what it means to be in the develop phase or the qualify phase or what have you. And again, you can use your language around those. These are kind of generic terms. But ultimately, those opportunities, can really help you manage the process. A few things that are hard to show in a demo are workflow related. So this application is capable of a lot of automated processes. So you've got simple things like when a new potential donor is created in the system, we want to notify a certain group of people. Or, when there's a new donation track, we need to send an email to someone who wants to, needs to send a tax acknowledgement letter. So really simple workflows. But then you might also have a whole series of steps that need to, that someone needs to go through in order to, maybe it's an actual service that you guys provide in your organization, right? There's 6 steps to get someone onboarded in terms of providing a client service, as an example. So those things can all be created in here and then managed using phone calls and tasks and appointments and what have you through the activity tool set. So here you can create a series of tasks or phone calls or follow-up and what have you. We can also talk a little bit about marketing, okay? Marketing in this system is actually going to provide you with more information than you've ever had about your events and your efforts from a fundraising perspective, from a volunteer generation perspective, okay? You can create marketing lists of people, okay? So these are, and I actually don't think I have any stored in here, but ultimately this is a way to say, all right, I'm going to target this specific group of people because I know that they have the possibility to contribute $5,000 or more, right? So I'm going to put them through a series of activities and invite them to a special event and what have you. You can actually manage that through a campaign in CRM. And then what's really nice is that campaign can actually include financial information. So what does it cost you to do this event? What does it cost you to do this campaign of marketing activities? And then ultimately the donations that come out of that campaign are tied back to this so we can show true return on investment. Okay? Someone actually asked a question about, getting a list of organizations that currently use Microsoft Dynamics CRM. We'll actually follow up with an email that you can, we'll list out a few folks locally and then also, some other folks outside of this area who use Microsoft Dynamics CRM. So we'll follow up with that for sure. Okay. So I know that sort of felt like getting a drink from a fire hose, as one of my colleagues always says. It's a lot of information all at once, but hopefully we've been able to kind of show you some of the features and benefits inherent in CRM. I think some of the big takeaways, of course, you heard me mention over and over again that this is customizable. So this is not an application that this is not an application that you have to kind of fit your organization into. This is an application that allows you to customize it to meet your needs. So I think that's really important to remember. The other thing I would point out, of course, is that you would be partnering with our organization, and we help to leverage best practices. We learn from a lot of our customers, and we're able to consider various ways of automating processes, of tracking data, of reporting on data. And that's not just in the nonprofit industry, but also in lots of other industries who are using the CRM product. With that said, I'm a couple of minutes over the 10 o'clock line, but we do have 10 or 15 minutes for questions, and as long as there are questions, I'll certainly stay on the line. If you guys have specific questions, if you could just type those into the chat window, and then I can outline the answers to the group. As we mentioned early in the webinar, we are certainly available to have kind of a one-on-one conversation or consultation with you guys. If you have more questions, one of the things we didn't touch on a lot here is how this can be leveraged for lots of services in your organization. So even the operations of what you do can be managed using CRM. We have organizations who use this for employee management, employee performance management. We have organizations who use this for client service management and what I would call customer service, right? So kind of tracking what it is you do in your organization. What is the service you provide? So any other questions? All right. Well, we will stay on the line here. Oh, there's one. Okay. Can you automate pledge reminders and thank you emails? Oh, great question. Yes. So we can actually, in each of these, let's see if I can do a quick example. When you record a donation or a pledge, you can actually generate a template, Okay? Generate a Word template that will take data from this record and dump it right into a Word document. So much like a mail merge, except that you don't have to create that document. You don't have to worry about replacing key data elements. It'll actually pull the donor, the donor's address, the value of the donation, the date of donation, and dump it into your form letter, which you can then print and send. So nice and easy. We can do lots of templated tools here. We've got another question. How do I get my data into your CRM? So there are a lot of different tools we can use for data migration, but ultimately the sort of easiest thing for most people to understand and sort of conceptualize is the export of data from your existing system or from Excel or Outlook or wherever you might be keeping it today into a spreadsheet format, so a CSV format. And then we do some scrubbing of that data to remove any duplicates or anything that's dirty, and ultimately import that data into our tool. That's something our team handles, so certainly we need your support while we do that, but we kind of hold your hand through that, and we get that data in, and we just might need to leverage your expertise about the data itself. So if we had to make a choice, for example, between two addresses, we certainly wouldn't do that on your behalf. You'd have to make that decision. But yeah, pretty easy to import right into the system. Would I be able to store sensitive data like credit card numbers without security concerns? Yes, there's a couple of ways to handle that. Most organizations who store sensitive information in CRM leverage what's called field security profiles, and that is the ability to show data only to certain personnel at certain times. So credit card numbers, social security numbers, things like that can actually be masked to most users of the system. And then, of course, there's a more general question about security of this application, and we do use all the latest and greatest in data security strategies. We do secure this using a secure socket layer, and all of your data is backed up. So we have a disaster recovery plan in place with our data center, and I have lots more information on those data security details if people have additional questions. Okay. Well, I think that must be the last of our questions. Hopefully, like I said, I hope this gave you enough of an overview that you have more questions and you want to follow up with us and see how Microsoft Dynamics CRM could be an essential tool in your organization. I will just throw my information back on the screen here in case anybody wants to get in touch. Thank you again for joining us this morning, and have a great remainder of the week.